I'm sorry, Ella, what are we doing?
We're keeping our mics on.
I call to order the Town Council regular session at 7:32, and the date is Monday, May 14th. And we have the privilege tonight of having Troop 1 Wakefield Scouts here, if they'd like to come forward and lead us in the pledge. Just going to have them come forward and just state their name.
I'm Matthew Vedder.
Ryan Fazio.
Nick Fazio. Keegan Fike.
Welcome. And it's a privilege to have you here to start us off on the Pledge of Allegiance, which the flag is over here.
Nice over here, guys.
So, where do I start?
Matt, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Nice
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And our 4 scouts from Troop 1 Wakefield are working on their communications merit badge, so good luck. Dale, roll call, please.
Council President Whaley.
Present.
Council Vice President
Here. Here? Here.
Here.
Thank you, Dale. We have the approval of the minutes of previous meetings. We have the work session, April 23rd, 2012.
I move approval of those minutes.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. We also have the regular session, April 11th, April 12th, April 23rd, and April 30th.
I move acceptance of those regular sessions.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Would any council person request anything removed from the consent agenda?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. We have licenses. This is a resolution granting a victualling license to 108 Roadhouse LLC, 1464 Kingstown Road, Peacedale, Rhode Island, subject to issuance of a retail sales tax permit and a certificate of occupancy. Application by Stuart A. Tucker, Managing Member, 55 South Road, North Kingstown, Rhode Island, and this is a new license. Do we have someone to represent Stu Tucker here? Welcome. If you'd like to come to the microphone and tell us about your endeavor here.
We're slowly trying to redo the pump house. We hope to open a steakhouse there within the next month. My background is, you might know, in North Kingstown we have 2 restaurants, Duffy's Tavern and the Oak Hill Tavern.
Any questions here at the table for Mr. Tucker? Polly, and then Carol.
Mr. Tucker, are you, did you say it was going to be largely a steakhouse?
Yes.
And will you be serving the same food that the pump house served, more or less?
More or less, but a steakhouse with some seafood.
Great. Thank you.
Well, that was my question. I was hoping you were bringing along the seafood that you're so famous for down in North Kingstown.
Thank
At
you.
Duffy's, right? Isn't
Right.
that yours?
Yeah. That's a very tough one to duplicate.
Good. Try.
Yeah, we
Very
could
good.
try.
Well, it's a beautiful place, the structure. So when you're planning on opening in a month?
Within a month.
Great.
Other questions here at the table? Jim?
I've seen some construction up there and back. What have you added to the original building?
That was where the walk-in coolers were, but they were on top of blocks when they originally did it. So, and it was 3 steps, 4 steps up. So we added 2 coolers and a walk-in freezer and above it, we put an office in storage.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Further questions here at the table? Kathy?
Yeah, I'm glad that it's an old structure. I know my kids did a fourth grade project on some of the buildings, and the pump house was one of ours that we had to put together a model of, so I'm glad to see it still being used, and it is a nice steakhouse restaurant. You know, being an Irish girl, we like the meat and potatoes, so glad to see a steakhouse coming into town. So good luck.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know that your facilities in North Kingstown, I'm a retired teacher, so you have been very kind in many, many functions at your facilities, and if the food is just as good, we are very fortunate here in South Kingstown to have you aboard. So we welcome you.
Thank you.
So do we have a motion?
I move approval of new license A.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500, and we wish you the best of luck, Stu. Which brings us to our first public hearing. This is a public hearing relative to an application for transfer of a license to keep and sell alcoholic beverages in South Kingstown in accordance with the general laws of 1956 as amended as follows. We have a Class B victular liquor license, transfer of a Class B victular liquor license from Pump House Incorporated, 1464 Kingston Road, Peacedale, Rhode Island, by Robert W. Haberlin, President, to 108 Roadhouse LLC, 1464 Kingstown Road, Peacedale, Rhode Island, by Stuart A. Tucker, Managing Member of the main floor dining and bar areas, loft dining areas, and lower dining room, and as further defined in a site plan on file in the town clerk's office. Said transfer is contingent upon the issuance of certificates of good standing from the Rhode Island Division of Taxation, compliance with all town ordinances and regulations, the payment of any municipal taxes and user fees and arrears to the town, the correction of any fire code violations, and satisfaction of all claims. So at this time, if you would like to address it at the microphone again. Just want to make a brief statement. We'll just open it up for a public comment after you speak.
Well, we hope to carry on what the Pump House has been known for, and that's a destination restaurant. And the building is beautiful. We're hoping to, what we've done already, I think we've added to it. And we hope that the business will follow us.
That's great. Okay. Thank you. We're going to open it up for public comment. Steve, I don't know if you had any comments, and is there any communications? We're good. All right. So I'm going to ask the town council if they have any questions here before I open it to the public. Carol?
Mr. Tucker, are you changing the interior at all? The interior of the building, the restaurant?
Other than just we cut some access from behind the bar to the kitchen, and we're going to add the upstairs, which was there. We just put all new railing up and all new flooring up and down.
Nice.
Okay. Any other questions here at the table? Polly?
I'm sure it's in the information we have here, but could you tell us about how many people you will be able to serve in your restaurant?
I think it seats a little under 150.
Thank you. It's nice.
Any other questions? Jim?
No, I think this simply goes hand in hand with the dining facility, so
Right.
I would love to move to close this, but I know you have to
You have
ask
to
the
open
public
it.
for comment.
Right. Okay, so any other further questions? Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it to the public. If they have any questions or comments, they may come to the microphone. Seeing none, can we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. And we have a motion.
I move that we grant the transfer of the Class B victular liquor license from the Pump House, Inc. on 1460.
Carol, I want to be sure we capture everything. If you could just make a motion to approve public hearing item A, that way we capture it all.
Okay, you don't want me to read it, huh? I make a motion that we approve public hearing A.
Second?
We have motion and second. Any further discussion? Ready to vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Good luck,
Thank you.
Mr. Tucker.
It's going to be great. Yeah.
Okay, our second public hearing is a public hearing relative to an application for a license to keep and sell alcoholic beverages in South Kingston in accordance with the general laws of 1956 as amended as follows. Application for a Class B limited liquor license by Robo Rustico Limited Liability Corporation doing business as Pizzeria Mezzo, 32 Old Tower Hill Road, Wakefield, Rhode Island, by John Ruzzo. Member for the bar area, counter area, and dining area at tables, and is further defined in a site plan on file in the town clerk's office. So the public hearing is opened, and welcome.
Hello,
Mr.
members of
Bilodeau
council.
and John.
Andrew Bilodeau on behalf of Rober Rustico. Essentially, we're here for the authorization to sell alcohol at this establishment. As you may well know, a special use permit was issued, victualler's license was issued for the facility, so basically he's ready to open with the exception of a liquor license, which that's what we're here for tonight. John can tell you a little bit more about the design of the restaurant and answer some questions with respect to the restaurant.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty much the same way as it was the last time I was here. We've designed it so that we could have, accommodate, my customers with beer and wine, as opposed to just soda. I initially really didn't want the beer and wine license when I first started the project. I thought I might go BYOB, but a lot of my friends and customers, some went, well, BYOB is not too bad, but it's nice to go out and not have to bring liquor in your car and travel with that. So they encouraged me to, get a beer and wine license, basically. So after a lot of thinking on it, vacillating on it, I decided to apply for it. The design is the same. Nothing's changed since I was last here at the board when you granted me my common victuals license. And so if you grant this to me today, I'll just keep, moving forward. I think this is the last hurdle that I have here tonight.
Thank you, John. Andrew, did you want to make a statement?
I didn't know if there were any questions that I could answer on behalf of.
Let's start here with Carol.
I just wanted to ask, right now you're Go Pasta. Are you going to change the name to Pizzeria Mezzo, or is it all going to be Go Pasta?
Two separate entities
It is.
altogether.
So it's going to be, one's going to be Go Pasta and the other one's going to be Pizzeria Mezzo. Oh, okay. But it's the same food, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've
Same kitchen?
The menu is different, but we will have specials that will accommodate the same foods certain times of the week.
Oh,
Our basic menu is a rustic pizzeria with a wood-fired, charcoal, natural coal-fired pit for sirloin tips and sausage and chicken tips and that kind of stuff, with salads, antipastos. And one day a week, we will feature a different pasta dish. So we will encourage more pasta dishes and chicken dishes, somewhat what we have there now.
great.
Polly.
Have you opened your restaurant now?
Only, no. Not
You
really.
haven't opened, when do you plan to open it?
Tomorrow.
Okay. That's soon enough, good. Thank you. I've been watching and I didn't think it was open.
Further questions here at the table? I know, Dale, do you have a communication? Okay.
Two communications, one filed on behalf of Keith Kyle, on behalf of his client Costanza Realty objecting to this liquor license application, and another communication dated May 14th, 2012, to gentlemen. We represent and are registered agents for Indian Run Village, RIH LLC. This will acknowledge we have received notice of the above referenced application and have no objection to the same. Apparently, we did not receive notice of the special use permit application or hearing on this use before the zoning board. However, had we received such notice, we would not have objected and hereby waive any alleged notice deficiency. Sincerely, William R. Landry.
Thank you. And what we're going to do is let Mr. Kyle make his presentation at this time, and then we'll have further questions here at the Town Council, and then go back out to any questions from the public.
Thank you, President. Just for the record, I have an original of my objection, if I could mark that as an exhibit in this hearing.
Thank you.
I represent Costanza Realty LLC, which is the property owner which abuts Plat 57-2, Lot 73, which is the tax-assessed lot, which now will house 3 businesses, Estia, Go Pasta, and this pizzeria, Mezza. As a prerequisite to the issuance of a liquor license under the town's rules and regulations, there's a requirement that a special use permit be obtained. And I'll address in a moment the genesis of Mr. Landry's letter, but when I came here to do my due diligence with respect to the liquor license application, I noticed in the town council records that notice to the abutters for this particular hearing had gone out to one group of people, which then sent me back over to the zoning office, and I discovered that notice to the abutters and that went to a different group, in particular one owner, which was the owner of this Indian Run Village. Mr. Landry's letter that was emailed to me this afternoon by Attorney Bilodeau essentially confirms my suspicion, which was that there was a failure to notify an abutter. And what this has now given rise to, with respect to Mr. Landry's letter, is whether or not, because clearly, just let me back up, clearly the failure to notify an abutter is a subject matter jurisdiction issue which deprives the zoning board of authority to grant a special use permit. The issue now is whether or not the waiver some 3 months later, which was not presented during the meeting, which is the typical mode in which an abutter can waive its rights. It waives it either by doing one of 2 things: appearing at the zoning board hearing, notwithstanding not having received notice, in which case it can't argue that it didn't get notice because it was there to make all its objections, or by filing a written waiver with the zoning board hearing on the day of the hearing. Here we have a very different situation, and I would argue to this town council that the zoning board did not have jurisdiction to grant the special use permit, and therefore, at this stage, I don't think the town council has authority to grant the liquor license because it is a condition, that is a special use permit, of the issuance of a liquor license. And for the record, I'll cite the 2 Rhode Island Supreme Court opinions, Ryan versus New Shoreham, which appears at 656, Atlantic 2nd, 612, and Corporation Services Incorporated versus the Town of East Greenwich, which appears at 330, Atlantic 2nd, 402. So because it's my opinion that the zoning board decision was a nullity, this matter is before you today inappropriately, and that you have to deny the issuance of the liquor license on that basis. So that's argument 1. The other arguments, I can try to summarize as quickly as possible, but the town's policies and procedures for the issuance of liquor license, the rules and regulations, specifically subpart D, is entitled Bases for Denial. And the parts that I want to point out to you are subparts D, which is entitled Impact on Traffic, subpart E, Parking, and M, which is Other Health and Safety Factors. And what I would suggest to the town council is that the way these liquor license rules and regulations are drafted, specifically the subpart D, it implies, I think, that the town council has to give due consideration to these factors before granting a liquor license, even though they may have been addressed in another forum. So let me just address separately, very quickly, the traffic concerns that my client has. As you're all aware, one of the access points to Estia, GoPasta, and this new enterprise is from Tower Hill Road. And when people turn in from Tower Hill Road, there are 11 parking spots that are immediately along what would be the right-hand side of the road, which is now my client who owns that road has put a yellow line down the center of it because of these driving issues. So people who park in those 11 spots, I guess, on the easterly side of that property line, the only way they can get out is by backing into a right-of-way, which is used on a heavily congested and trafficked roadway. And I've supplied with my objection the only statistics that were available as to the amount of traffic that's passing over that road in a 24-hour basis, and it's something like 14,000 cars or something like that. So my client has concerns because people do now consider that to be a thoroughfare. They don't just use it to access the Dale Carlia Shopping Center or go to Bank of America or go to Estia. They use it to drive through as a shortcut to get to wherever they're going or to avoid the light at Tower Hill Road. So it is something that the corporation's very concerned about. The other issue is parking. We don't believe that there is sufficient parking, particularly when you consider these 11 spots that I just referenced. Estia, according to the town zoning records, when it applied for its permit, says that it's a 30-seat restaurant, which would require a minimum of 10 parking places. Pizzeria Mezza has put in its papers a 50-seat restaurant, which would require 16 more or less parking spaces. When the zoning board heard this, it was represented to them that there were 27 available parking spots, but that didn't take into consideration the fact that there was a representation made at the zoning board that the Pizzeria Mezza and GoPasta have 12 employees. I have no idea how many employees Estia has, but let's maybe take a guesstimate and say they have at least 10. And you have, in our estimation, a parking issue with this particular parcel, and we're opposed to the issuance of a liquor license on those two grounds. The other thing that's unusual about this particular piece of property, unlike the property owned by Job Lot and Indian Run, and I'm saying Job Lot, that's not the actual legal owner, but we'll refer to it as Job Lot. Only Job Lot and Indian Run have an actual deeded, titled right of access over this, what we now consider or everyone thinks of as a thoroughfare. So basically, in order for Estia, GoPasta, and this new enterprise to get to these 11 spots, which they've included in their parking plan, they're essentially trespassing across my client's property. Now, I want to make clear to the board that my client's primary concern here is one of liability. The corporation is very concerned that because it is used as a thoroughfare, or people think that they can travel upon that for purposes other than accessing the properties that are abutting it, that her liability is increased and exacerbated. And what we don't want to happen is we don't want the town to minimize or marginalize what the increased liability is, because it is very real. If someone were to be injured either crossing that right-of-way to access this or backing out when someone's turning in, everyone is going to get sued here. So we're concerned about the liability, and we think that because there is obviously going to be an increased usage because people don't increase their business floor plan, get a liquor license because they expect less people to come. They expect more people to utilize the facility. So I'm just asking that the town give its considered judgment and thought as to the liability issues that are potentially facing my client by the increase in usage in a very, very small parcel of land. You now have 3 very active businesses in the town, and one of them, by the way, as you all know, already serves alcohol. So now we're adding another entity with alcohol. So with that in mind, my client objects to the issuance of a liquor license. If there are any questions, I'll answer any.
Thank you. Did you want to do further discussion?
Yeah, if I could, please. Not surprisingly, I disagree with my brother with respect to the issue on the Ryan case in particular. The proposition that the Ryan case stands for, yes, the Supreme Court has held in many other cases that attendance at a meeting without notice does stand for a waiver, okay? But Ryan very clearly stands for the proposition, not if you give notice before that meeting. 2 months after in the Ryan case, the individual gave a waiver regarding this meeting. It was, the meeting was held in January, the waiver was given in March, and the court held that that waiver was sufficient. Very similar situation here, okay? That's the first proposition. That's the Ryan case that my brother had referenced. With respect to, just to correct the record, the certificate of occupancy has been issued, and it's for 30 seats, not 50. And my client will abide by that CO for the 30 seats. With respect to the issue of traveling over his clients right away, you heard him use the term thoroughfare often. How often have you looked at that road in between my client's locale and the shopping center and ever thought that it was anything but a road to go through? They put a line, a striped line in front of it. They don't have any sign that says private. They've done nothing to restrict access. That is a prescriptive easement, which my client's customers have a right to use. They've used it in excess of 10 years, probably more than 25. I've been down here for 12, and I've used that on a regular basis. With respect to, what was the last issue here? You know, there's been nothing put on the record with respect to an increase in traffic because he's serving liquor. Okay, he can open up tomorrow. He has his license to open up and make pizza. There's nothing to say, and there's nothing been presented to say the fact that he has a liquor license, there's going to be an excess of people going there. There's nothing there. So I'd ask that the council take that into consideration and issue the license.
Mr. Bilodeau, before you sit, do you want to, I think the other matter that Mr. Kyle raised was liability issues.
My client is insured properly with the business as is required by his lease, and the necessary insurances in place would cover any issues with respect to liability. There's nothing to stop anybody from suing anyone for any type of injuries, depending on what property it's on. I mean, the nature of the beast is that you sue as many people as you can and you try and settle out. But this area in particular, this right-of-way, is not exclusive to his client's use any longer. They lost that privilege by prescriptive easement. It's known as a thoroughfare, and they've done nothing to stop that, and they cannot stop it under Rhode Island case law and by statute.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back to you, Mr. Kyle, if you have any remarks, and then I'm going to bring it back to Mr. Bilodeau, and then questions
The only
here at the
remark
table.
I have is that we do not agree that the property has acquired any easement rights by prescription. The roadway was marked to facilitate customers of our primary tenant, Bank of America, to access their drive-through and access their parking. So we don't believe that it's acquired any rights, particularly to the owner of this property. These are tenants, lessees. So to that part, we object.
If I might just respond briefly. With respect to prescriptive easements, it doesn't just flow to the owner of the property. It does actually flow to tenants, and there's a thing called tacking. So John had only been there since, I think, 2007 or so, plus or minus years. The time he's been there counts towards in addition to the previous tenant, that time counts towards that 10-year period. It's a very small window for a prescriptive easement and for the usage of that parcel of land. And again, I say there's been nothing to say, no sign put up saying for the exclusive use of Bank of America customers, Wakefield Liquors. It's a thoroughfare. You heard it yourself, and that's how it's used. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask if there's any questions here at the table, and I know that at some point we're going to seek advice from our town solicitor. So questions here at the town council table? Carol?
Mr. Kyle, I have to ask why we received this tonight at 6:30 when we walked in the door. I mean, it's a 20-page document, so
I
we've not had
I
any
delivered
time
this to the
read it.
town clerk on Friday and
Well-
asked her to deliver a copy to everybody.
That's not how it works here. I mean,
I delivered
It-
I
it's-
delivered a copy to the town
the fact
clerk.
of the matter is, we have not had an opportunity to read this. But I do have to say, I agree with Mr. Bilodeau as far as the waiver from the Indian Run Village. The only thing I disagree with Mr. Landry on is gentlemen. He forgot that there's 4 women up here when he addressed the letter, but, you know, you don't have, I don't see anything to suggest a traffic study that you've done to convince us that in some way this would impact the safety issue in that area. You're just alleging
Go down
it.
there and take a look at when people turn in there. I mean, that's how a lot of these things, been here before zoning boards when they go out and look at what goes on. So all it takes is to go down and look when there are SUVs and large cars and trucks parked in those spots, backing out. It's the only way for them to get out is to back out into a right-of-way that people are using to turn into to access my client's property. So I admit, we have not done a traffic study or anything else. It's a matter of common sense. Go down there and look at it.
Can you explain to me why there's been no attempt over the years to limit access to that thoroughfare, as you call it?
We have limited access. The access to that is for people that use the Bank of America and the other titled rights of use, which is the job lot people and Indian Run.
Are there any signs that
There are no
suggest that?
signs, but there might be a wall pretty soon.
And I think that's it.
Kathy?
I have to also say that I've been here for 10 years, and we've had several businesses go through there, when it was the printing place, when it was a children's hair cutting place. Estio was changed its name and ownership, I think, over there. And never before have we ever had, you know, any of this problem brought up before. So, I mean, this has been kind of going on, that thoroughfare, for a while. So it's never, ever been an issue. Even when Go Pasta came in, this was never brought up.
It's been an issue between my client and the owner and tenants. They are continually parking on its property. They're asking us, why can't we park on your property? Why don't you let us use it? And our response is, well, do we get free meatballs and spaghetti when we go in there? I mean, it's our property, and we do not have to allow other people to use it. That's how the issue has now come to a head. They're constantly asking us to use the property for parking, and we're not going to allow it. We have leased a portion of it to Bank of America for use of its clients, and that's what it's used for.
I'm just saying, for a 10-year history, that has never been brought up here. And we've approved and licenses and for businesses to occur there, and this has never, ever come in front of us. So, and I think Mike will probably talk about this too, and even just the past looking of the deeds on what this road has been used for over the years, that I do believe it, that it is a prescriptive easement.
Any further questions? Jim?
Yeah, in regards to this thoroughfare, I think it's absurd, Mr. Kyle, for you to believe that people are taking a shortcut there to head north on Kingstown Road. First of all, if you continue westerly, you go right around the corner, you obviously wait for traffic, but there's no light. If you take that thoroughfare towards Indian Run, take your left, you come out to a light. You've just compounded a problem.
I'm saying people...
I'm sorry, that's absurd.
Well,
You made that comment that people...
I'm saying people
you're wrong.
perceive it as a thoroughfare, and I know that people cut through there to get to the nursery. They cut through there to get to some of the other properties there. There's no question about it.
It is so slight, but again, as mentioned before, you brought no proof to us whatsoever. And I know when National Grid was there, I know this has always been a road that's been used, excuse me, a right-of-way that's been used for the other businesses in there over the years. So I'm having a problem with some of your arguments here, but when the chair has a chance to ask Mr. Osello, I guess I'd love to know if given the Ryan case, what you've heard there tonight, is this application properly before us? But I'll leave that up to the chair if there are more questions here from the council.
Polly?
I just want to state that I too have used the parking, and I have backed out, and you people are very careful, and they don't go fast. And I think that I've used it, certainly, I agree with Kathy, I've used it for more than years than Kathy has. And it's just always been there are no signs saving the parking spaces for any one person or any one business. And I think that it's just been common knowledge that that's where you park.
I just have a question for Mr. Kyle. Were these concerns brought to the zoning? Did you send representation to the zoning meeting?
Yes, President, we filed a very similar objection before the zoning board.
Were you present at that meeting?
I was not present, but we submitted an objection. I was away on business, and my client was not available either.
Okay.
But they were filed, and it was noticed, and it's part of the minutes of the zoning board that our objection was considered.
Thank you. Any further questions here before we ask for Town Solicitor Mike Ursillo's comments?
Do you want, before I comment, do you want to see if there's anyone else from the public who wants to comment on this, and maybe some other issues will come up, and I'll take care of as many as I can.
That'd be great, thank you. So if they're going to now open this to any comments from the public, so if anyone would like to speak, please come to the microphone and state your name.
Yes, my name is Brian Bouchard from Narragansett, Rhode Island. Mr. Russo and I would respectfully like to request the town council to table the liquor license for this evening. Mr. Russo and I are engaged in a business dispute specific to Robo Rustico, where I had, over the past several months, contributed monies to Mr. Russo for a percentage interest in the business. And I don't want to go into too great a detail, but we're trying to resolve this. I think we will come to a resolution shortly. However, without coming here tonight and trying to protect my interests, I respectfully request that you table this at least till the next meeting, till Mr. Russo and I can come to an understanding. My name is Brian Bouchard, B-O-U-C-H-A-R-D.
I'm going to see if there are any more comments before we go to our town solicitor's comments. So if you have anything further to say, Mr. Bouchard?
Do you have any other questions for me?
Any questions here at the table?
Well, yeah.
Carol?
Mr., is it Bouchard or Rouchard?
It's Bouchard with
Bouchard.
a B.
This isn't necessarily an issue, as I see it, that is something that the town council has to engage in. I mean, this is an issue between you and Mr. Russo. You're really expanding what we're supposed to be considering here.
Perhaps I read it wrong, but I was reading through the requirements for getting and obtaining a liquor license, and it did say that the public did have the ability to comment and post any claims and so forth. So in the process of reading that, I felt as though it would be incumbent upon all of you to be aware that, maybe this will be resolved and maybe it won't be. So I think when, certainly when you have people coming up for liquor licenses and so forth, you want to certainly make sure, I would think, to make sure you're working with someone that's, has integrity and so forth. And I believe that Mr. Russo does, and we'll be able to work this out. But until such time, I think there could be a little bit of a question there.
Are you alleging anything illegal?
No. No.
Any further questions for Mr. Bouchard?
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. I'm going to open up the microphone if any other further comments from the public. Okay, at this time, I'm going to seek comments from...
Before I speak, I thought Mr. Bilodeau was going to get up to address the claim that's being made.
I was just basically, Councilwoman McEntee basically established what I was going to present, the fact that it's not properly, those comments aren't properly before the council. As you all well know, if there's some sort of contractual dispute, those disputes get handled in court. Business disputes occur all the time, but it's not something that should be relevant to the issuance of a liquor license. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, a number of legal issues were raised here this evening, and I'll do my best to address them. We'll begin with this latest one. I agree that if there's a dispute between partners, you are not going to be sitting as a court and jury deciding that dispute. I do not believe that this dispute can legally prevent you from issuing a license if that's your decision. So I would leave that up to the two, because if there are money damages that are in fact owed from one party to the other, that can be decided. It'll probably take months and months, if not years, for the court to settle that out, and the parties will air that dispute in the proper form. I don't believe this is the proper form. With regard to whether or not the application is properly before you this evening, based upon the issuance of a special use permit where one of the abutters was not correctly notified, it is my opinion, after reading all of the cases which both parties, counsel, have provided to me during the day, that in fact it is properly before you, that the only individual or the only entity that has standing to object would be Indian Village. Number one, by correspondence that you received today, they are not objecting. Number two, I believe if in fact there was a problem with identification of the property with regard to address or the lot and plat, etc., that would be an incurable defect which would require the zoning board to have a new hearing. But with regard to failure to notify in a butter, that is not a situation which would deprive you of jurisdiction this evening to go forward. So I do believe it is properly before you. With regard to the issue on the right of way or the thoroughfare, whatever word you want to use to describe it, once again, like in the first instance, that's an issue for a court to decide, not for you to decide. In making your decision this evening, you should, in my opinion, assume that there is a right-of-way that the public can utilize if, in fact, at some point, the objector is able to convince a court that that right-of-way is not open to the public, is not a prescriptive easement. At that point, we as a town will have to go back and look at the entire situation, because it would not only just affect this applicant, it would affect the other property owners that are located in the same area and utilizing that right away. But again, you don't have the ability to decide that issue as a town council. That's an issue that would have to be decided by a court. And again, that could be a very long and involved process. So I do believe the matter is correctly before you, and that if you so desire, you can move forward with deciding whether or not the application should be approved or denied this evening.
Thank you. Any questions here for Mike Ursillo? Seeing no questions, I just want to open the microphone one more time to the public before we close the public hearing. Any further comments? Okay.
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
We have motion and second. Any last minute further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. We are now going to move forward to public hearing C. This is a public hearing for public discussion relative to the need for additional liquor licenses within the community. And at this time, we're going to move to 13A. New business 13A. This is a resolution affirming or amending the town's liquor license.
Ella,
Sorry, Mike.
Just in terms of procedure, you need to hold the public hearing first, and then you would only get to 13A
Thank you.
after the public hearing.
Thank you very much. So we have a public hearing for public discussion relative to the need for additional liquor licenses within the community. So are there any questions here from Town Council? Any comments from the public? Before I move to new business item 13A. Seeing there's no comments, can we have a motion to close public hearing C?
I move that we close public hearing C.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Thank you, Michael, which now brings us to 13A, which is new business. This is a resolution affirming or amending the town's liquor license rules and regulations, Section 1. The number of licenses for each class shall be authorized as indicated below. So if anyone would like to entertain any conversation?
Can I make a motion?
Polly, please do.
May I make a motion that we increase limited B liquor license from 4 to 5?
Second.
We have motion and a second. Any further discussion? At this time, before we take the vote, I'm just going to, for courtesy, open it up. Any comments? Okay, we're ready to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. And do we need to reaffirm, read through the list?
No, because the motion was to change B limited from 4 to 5, and you've therefore amended your local rule.
Thank you, which brings us back to public hearing B. Do we have a motion?
I move approval of public hearing B.
And Polly, on this one, though, since it's not stated in there, can you include in your motion the paragraph which is at the end of public hearing A relative to the transfer being contingent upon the issuance of certificates of good standing from the Rhode Island Division of Taxation, compliance with all town ordinance and regulations, the payment of any municipal taxes and user fees and arrears to the town, correction of any fire code violations, and the satisfaction of all claims.
I will.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? We have motion and a second. Any further discussion here at the table?
I was just going
Kathy?
to say, Elliot, I just hope that the two parties here, since we really can't get involved in the other issue that came up, that hopefully that will get settled so the business might start on a good footing. I think that would be a nice gesture, since there's nothing really we can do about that here at this council, as I hope everybody understands. All right, thank you.
Okay. With that said, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Thank you, and we wish you the best of luck, and
Good luck.
hopefully there will be coming together.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Which brings us to Communication B. This is a communication dated April 17th, 2012, from Laurie Panza, Director of Program and Training, Girl Scouts of Rhode Island, requesting a citation for Julia Craig of Troop Number 554, who has earned the Girl Scout Gold Award, is received, placed on file, and the Town Council further address directs. I will contact Tina Craig tomorrow. Tina has been very active in keeping the Girl Scouts here in front of the Town Council table and bringing us boxes of Girl Scout cookies and all the other wonderful things. So this is a true pleasure for her daughter to be receiving the Gold Award. So I will call Tina tomorrow, and we will get the information forwarded to our town clerk, Dale Holbrook, and schedule a town council meeting for Tina, for Julia to come and receive the award. We'll get a proclamation together. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Communication C is a communication dated May 2nd, 2012, from Anthony Mega announcing the resignation from the school committee effective July 1st, 2012, is received, placed on file, and the town council further directs.
Can I I make a motion that we thank Dr. Mega for his years of service to the school committee.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely. He's had many years. How many years has he been on there? Several, right? 8 years? He's done a great job.
I can remember twisting Tony's arm to run for school committee on a Saturday morning. He definitely has done this community well. The children, advocating for the children, the teachers, the families. He's done an outstanding job, and it's going to be big shoes to fill. So
I'll second that, Polly, motion.
we have a motion and a second. Jim?
Well, what you just said, Elle, I wanted to add to Polly's motion there, not just the school committee, but do add the town of South Kingstown. Because he was very important, did a great job. So let's add them all in there.
And we wish him much luck in his endeavors.
So I also want to state that we talked in the public works session that we will probably establish a policy that will appoint someone. We'll probably have a an application process, and we'll be doing some interviews. And we'll be asking the town clerk to set that up. So with that said, we have a motion and a second. Are we ready to vote? Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Communication item E is a communication dated May 3rd, 2012, from Cynthia Wyman, AVP, Planning and Market Development, South County Hospital Healthcare System, seeking support for their position with regard to provisions in the governor's proposed budget pertaining to the disappropriate SHARE program and its potential effect on the financial stability of South County and Westerly hospitals is received, placed on file, and the town council further directs. Carol.
We discussed this at the work session, and we wholeheartedly want to support South County Hospital in their plan. We received this letter from Louis Giancola and Stephen Hartford, who is the Louis Giancola is the president and CEO of South County Hospital, and Stephen Hartford is the town manager on behalf of the Westerly Hospital Community Group. Both of them are asking for our support against the legislation, the governor's budget pertaining to the disproportionate share program. And I suggest, I'm asking that and moving that we as a council do a resolution in support of their request.
And I think we mentioned, too, that we were going to send it to all of our local legislators, the leadership upstate, and the governor's office, too, just to
Right.
include that, too.
Yes.
And I think, Carol, you're going to say that
Dale.
Dale, to probably get even more information, I thought, from Cindy Wyman to put this resolution together.
Right, and did we say neighboring towns as well?
You did.
Okay, great. Yep.
Okay, so I'll second that motion.
And I'd also like to say that the Hospital Association of Rhode Island Board, which is composed of CEOs of all the hospitals in Rhode Island, recognizes the unreasonable burden that will be placed on South County Hospital and to the Westerly Hospital Community Group. So they've endorsed, they're also endorsing this initiative.
Thank you. And I would just like to add that I participated in the South County Hospital. I saw you there that morning too, Kath, as well. The South County Hospital race, and had some dialogue about this issue with Lou Giancola. So we are a town council that fully supports, the endeavors here in our local hospital. Jim?
Yeah, again, the importance of South County Hospital to Southern Rhode Island's economy is, without question, probably one of our major industries. This needs to be stopped in its tracks. Last year it cost us nearly $1 million. I say us, the hospital. The governor's budget, obviously, is going through some incredible needs and demands by many interest groups. But I'm beginning to feel down here in South Kingstown and southern Rhode Island. I take a look at the cottage tax of 13%, which is still on the table. I take a look at the 2% sales tax hit for restaurants. It's incredible. They're just what small business goes through, and now we get hit with probably our largest employer in town, except the University of Rhode Island, and this is a direct assault on our well-being business-wise here. So I would like to think that our reps and senators have got to step to the plate here. If not, the council has got to start taking action here to help the hospital. It's those people that work there that we listen to and hear. And along with the hospital, the University of Rhode Island needs our support. They're just being pounded weekly. A lot of things that were beyond their control, but the university is also another incredible institution, incredible help and part of our economy here in South Kingstown, southern Rhode Island. And these two institutions we really need to go to bat for, so I'm hoping over the next few months that we can really step to the plate. But this is an emergency with the House Finance and Senate Finance Committee about to hear this, and we've got to put this together. Anyway, strong support here of stopping this in its tracks, so thank you for the time.
Thank you. Did we have a motion yet?
Yes.
Carol made the
I made a motion.
And who was the second?
Kathy.
Kathy. Okay, any further comments here? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Communication F, this is a communication dated May 9th, 2012, from Roland Benjamin requesting consideration for appointment to the school committee vacancy being created by Dr. Mega's resignation, is received, placed on file, and the town council further directs.
I think we made mention of this when we were talking about Anthony Mega's resignation, that we've talked about putting the application process in place, and that's what the town clerk will move forward with that. Okay, thank you.
Right, and I
About the
believe there was a second letter that didn't make this meeting. And we also talked about that, hopefully, possibly getting somewhere around the second meeting in June to get that process.
Yeah, what we'll need to do is to put a close date within 2 weeks for the applications, once Gail gets that in the paper, for us then to be able to set up a meeting for the council to do those interviews, so that you will be able to get it. The earliest, I think, would be that second meeting in June.
Thank you. Okay.
So I made the motion that we're going to
Do we have a
send
second?
a letter to Mr. Benjamin.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500. Which brings us to comments from interested citizens. So I'm going to open up the microphone if anyone would like to come to the microphone.
Jonathan Daly LaBelle. I just wanted to quickly comment that I think it's good that you're going to fill the position. It seems like it puts a level of importance upon each and every seat that's there, and I think that sets a good precedent. So I'm glad to hear that, and thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, we have, actually, I just want to state some dates here. Today at the town council table, we got the invitation to the East Matunic State Beach. So that date, the opening is Monday, May 21st at 11:30 in the morning. So that was here tonight. I've told you about the South County Hospital Walk. I believe in June there is also a walk coming up with A Place to Grow, which is a local preschool in the area. And we have the invitations to the parade. And last Sunday, I just wanted to make note that I attended an Eagle Court of Honor for Andrew Gagnon, Ryan McNaughton, and Emmett Schlenz. And they will not be able to be here tonight, but they will be here, the Tuesday meeting, let me see, probably May 29th. So I will keep these proclamations here. Just wanted to say that this was Troop 1, this was the West Kingston Troop that I attended, and the scout leader also is someone who works for the town, Mr. Boardman. So it was an honor to attend and deliver these proclamations to these fine 3 young Eagle Scouts, and hopefully they'll be here on May 29th. So any other important dates? Actually, one more. Carol, would you like to? The South Kingstown Police Department Promotion and Awards Ceremony takes place on Saturday, May 26th at 11 o'clock in the morning, South Kingstown Police Department. And there'll be a light lunch to follow in Captain Brown's conference room. So this is another invitation that hopefully the town council can be there to support our police department, our police officers. So with that said, anybody else have any other important events? Okay, I'm going to now go to town manager's report.
I have nothing to report on tonight other than the items that were in the 3 reports that the council received over the past 3 weeks. I would note that you do have a letter request from the Conservation Commission looking for a future date to meet with the council relative to amendments to a ordinance dealing with trees. That can be set up, or if the council wishes, I can schedule a time for staff to meet with the Conservation Commission on the concerns that we've expressed on some of the provisions within that ordinance.
Is there a preference here? Do you want to let Steve meet first and then we meet with them, or do you want to set up a meeting?
What are they requesting, Steve? Are they requesting to meet with us?
There's some
That's correct.
changes in the
Yeah, no, I
ordinance.
saw that,
Yeah.
but I just
I mean,
wasn't
if you
sure
wanna
who they
come up
were
with some
were
dates,
requesting to meet with.
Steve or Dale, are we still short 2 members or 2 members of the Conservation Commission?
2, but we had one application.
I think it is 2, yeah.
There's 2. Right.
Yeah, okay.
All right, I mean, I wouldn't mind if Steve had a preliminary meeting before we set up our meeting that maybe can answer some of their questions, so I don't know if
I
other
think that
people
they're still
feel that
going to
way.
be looking for a date with the
Yeah,
council.
they
If you
wanna meet
want,
with
just
them.
by the next council meeting, if you could just have the appointment booked so we can try to get a date scheduled, probably set it in June. And in the interim, I'll
Okay.
try to get the information to them.
Do you want to, okay, so we'll have to wait till the next meeting then. So the May 29th meeting, if we can all have our calendars, we'll pick a date in June. Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
That's it unless there's questions from the council.
Ella?
Any questions? Jim?
Yeah, I think our entire council here, but we've had quite a 4 months with the Coastal Resources Management Council. Can't thank Steve enough for the town staff hanging in there. We will persevere somehow or another with this. I guess the one Murphy's Law I wanted to ask, has anyone appealed? Is there an appeal period, Michael or Steve?
Well, the decision has to be put forward. Mr. Goldman will be drafting the actual decision itself. Once that decision is recorded, there then would be it's either a 20 or a 30-day appeal period that would go forward. In the interim, though, the town will continue to finish the engineering design plans. I will be then submitting those both to the coastal staff and to the State Department of Transportation, which is providing funding for the project. We're also in direct conversation now with the trustees for the Carpenter property. Those 2 parcels, we're attempting to determine whether we can secure necessary construction, access, and maintenance easements. We've provided copies to the trustees for review, and we're hopeful to be discussing that matter with them in the immediate future.
Right, is there an opportunity that there could be a purchase here, or are we going through either construction or maintenance permits, and therefore we have more parties to
We have
the-
not expressed any interest in the acquisition of that property. The only interest that we have at this time would be the interest to secure the necessary approvals to be able to provide maintenance on the sheet pile wall once installed. When the Coastal Council passed the approval on the application the other night, there were stipulations. One of the stipulations was that the armor stone would be a component of the application. Initially, when we applied last August, it was assumed that there would be no armor stone required because of the distance from the right-of-way to the headland. Based on the loss of the headland since last August, we're now assuming that a small portion of the sheet pile will have to have armor stone installed, and then we would also, that would have to go on the private property, and then there would also need to be a necessity for maintenance, because the second condition of that permit that was granted by council was that there had to be a maintenance plan adopted at the time that the construction plans were approved. So because of those reasons, we would be looking for the easement. There is no value to the town in terms of long-term ownership of the property, but rather just the maintenance opportunity.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Town Solicitor's report. Any questions for Mike? Seeing none, we're going to move to appointments. And we have a few.
Yes, we do. I move that we reappoint Jerome J. Briers II to the Economic Development Committee. His term expired in March of 2012, and it will, with the reappointment, that'll bring him to March 2015.
Second?
We have motion and a second. Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500.
We have a few appointments on the Planning Board. I move that we reappoint Douglas Langdon to the Planning Board. His term expired May of 2012, and his reappointment would go from May 2012 to May 2015. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries.
And Jean Rondeau is up for reappointment to the Planning Board. His term expired also in May of 2012, and his reappointment would take him to May of 2015. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries 500.
And we also have a vacancy on the Route 138 Reconstruction Project Area Committee. The vacancy is due to the passing of David Heffron, and we discussed at the work session that we would ask his wife Tracy Heffron, who also applied for the position, if she's still interested in serving on the Route 138 Reconstruction Project Committee.
Second?
Motion and a second, and our condolences to Tracy. We have motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Thank you. Which brings us to new business item B. This is a resolution authorizing an award of contract to R.E. Erickson Company Incorporated, 595 Providence Highway, Post Office Box 191, Walpole, Mass., for water division SCADA improvements in an amount not to exceed $23,934, including a $3,000 contingency, and as further described in a memorandum from the Public Services Director to the Town Manager dated April 24, 2012, entitled Water System Superintendent Controlled and Data Acquisition System Replacement. Steve.
SCADA is a superintendent-controlled and data acquisition system. It's software that's used for the control of the water tank elevations, the booster station, and the interconnect control valves. So essentially what it is it's a software that maintains the pressure throughout the system, calls for water, or shuts down the pump when sufficient water exists within the tanks. We have a need to upgrade the existing system. This is a sole source acquisition, and the recommendation is to award based on contract negotiated by Mr. Schock to the R.E. Erickson for the price as presented in the agenda at $23,934, which is inclusive of a $3,000 contingency. Glad to answer any questions council may have on this matter.
Thank you. Any questions for Steve?
I move approval of new business item B.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Which brings us to new business item G. Sorry, let's see. Wait, I went too many pages. F. This is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Ocean House Marine Incorporated, 60 Town Dock Road, Charleston, Rhode Island, for a 2012 model year Yamaha 225 horsepower, 4-stroke outboard motor per bid specifications, complete with rigging and controls installed, in an amount not to exceed $16,378, including trade-in allowance. And as further described in a memorandum from the police chief to the town manager dated May 2nd, 2012, and entitled Bid Recommendation Harbor Patrol Outboard Engine Replacement, SK0003PD. And I saw Mr. Ennis at Stop and Shop prior to this meeting.
Recommendation is to the sole bidder. This is a replacement of the outboard that was purchased in the summer of 2004. It was a 2005 model when we acquired it. At this point, it's got over 2,000 hours of use on it, and that will be traded in for the replacement unit that is proposed for acquisition tonight.
Thank you. Any questions here for Steve?
I have to know what kind of power here. If the boat's planed on relatively calm waters, what kind of speed can we get up to?
Can't go over 5 miles an hour in the
I
jail.
don't think anybody's ever accused Barry of going fast.
Or swimming off the boat.
But no one's going to answer the question. Even in knots, give me some idea of the speed that can be attained here.
Barry knows.
We're limited to 45 miles an hour in the daytime.
Thank you. Daytime, I love that.
Yeah.
I know nothing about boats, and I will not learn anything.
Thank you, Barry.
So that's the daytime. What is the speed in the
Daytime, wow.
nighttime? I know some, what is it?
25.
25. Okay, see that? Is that in the boating safety course?
Well,
All right.
I move approval of new business item F.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Thank you.
Have fun, Barry.
All right, new business item G. This is a resolution authorizing an award of contract for a 3-year term life and accidental death and dismemberment contract to Minnesota Life, 400 Robert Street North, St. Paul, Minnesota, for the period of July 1st, 2012 through June 30th, 2015, at the rates listed below. And it's July 1st, 2012 to June 30th, and I don't need to state the dates. And it is all municipal employees at $15,500 person per month, and all retirees contributory basis, $1.36 per person per month, and as further described in a memorandum from the financial controller to the town manager dated May 8th, 2012, and entitled Term Life Insurance Contract Award Recommendation. Steve?
Just let me rephrase, the bid price is 15.5 cents per $1,000 of insurance per person per month.
Yeah.
The price is $1.36 per $1,000 of insurance for the retirees. The 3-year bid package recommendation is to go with the lowest qualified bidder, Minnesota Life. Second low bidder is the town's existing vendor of record, which is the Rhode Island Interlocal Trust. The trust's price over the 3-year term is about $5,800 more than what Minnesota Life has bid. Recommendation is to go with the lowest qualified bidder.
Thank you.
Interesting, but, anyway, yes, I move that we approve new business item G.
Motion.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Which brings us to new business H, and there's been a slight change, so it may read a little different than what you have in the packet. This is a resolution canceling the award for liquid propane maintenance service and associated materials to Feral Gas, 100 Money Hill Road, Chepachet, Rhode Island, according to the terms and conditions of the State of Rhode Island Master Price Agreement, as awarded on April 23, 2012, and as further described in a memorandum from the Financial Controller to the Town Manager dated April 18th, and entitled Recommendation for Award of Liquid Propane Maintenance and Service and Associated Materials for the period of March 31st, 2012 to June 30th, 2012.
Okay, we're inserting the Feral Gas in that resolution as far as where we're canceling. And we're amending to refer to Mr. Xavier's amended memo of 5/11/2012.
Thank you. Questions here for Steve? Matt, do we have
I
a
move
motion?
approval of new business item H as amended.
Second.
Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. And we also have an addition for new business item I. We have a resolution authorizing an award for liquid propane maintenance service and associated materials according to, and I'm going to add, this is an addendum to this, Amerigas Propane Incorporated, 460 North Gulf Road, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, according, and then it goes back to the regular, according to the terms and conditions of the State of Rhode Island Master Price Agreement, bid specifications with the above referenced price schedules, and as further described in a memorandum from the Financial Controller to the Town Manager dated May 8th, 2012, and entitled Recommendation for Award of Liquid Propane and Maintenance Service and Associated Materials for the period of May 1st, 2012 to April 30th, 2015.
The only addition would be that Mr. Xavier's memorandum would be the amended memorandum dated 5/11/2012.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I move approval of new business item I.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
As amended.
As amended.
As amended. Thank you.
Carol.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. New business, item J. This is a resolution authorizing an extension of an award of bid originally granted on June 23, 2008, and extended on April 26, 2010, and May 23, 2011, to Mega Mechanical Service, LLC, formerly Harrington Engineering Incorporated, 293 Oakwood Drive, Glastonbury, Connecticut, for HVAC maintenance services at the Public Safety Complex for the period of July 1st, 2012 through June 30th, 2013, in accordance with the terms and conditions of the bid specifications at the following time and material rates. And it is regular PM priority service licensed HVAC technician at $77 an hour, emergency service licensed HVAC technician at $115.50 per hour, and markup of parts, materials over cost at 20%, as further described in a memorandum from the police chief to the town manager dated May 8, 2012, and entitled Recommendation for Bid Extension HVAC Maintenance Contract, Public Safety Complex, fiscal year 2012-2013.
Okay, the recommendation is to continue buying services through Mega Mechanical Services. They've really, they purchased and have been providing services for the public safety complex since the original bid back in 2004 for maintenance of the facility. We're well satisfied with the services that are provided and would ask that the contract be extended in accord with the memo prepared by the chief on May 8th.
Thank you. Any questions for Steve? Do we have a motion?
I move approval of new business item J.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. And we have new business item K. This is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Atlantic Control Systems, P.O. Box 313, Exeter, Rhode Island, for Town Hall and Peacedale Library Replacement Heating System. including underground storage tanks and above-ground tank removal, an amount not to exceed $172,100, including a $7,000 contingency, and is further described in a memorandum from the Public Services Director to the Town Manager dated May 9th, 2012, and entitled Bid Recommendation, Municipal Buildings Heating System Replacement Project, bid reference SK0003PS.
The town received grants in the amount of $291,757 for energy efficiency and conservation block grants. That program runs through October 1st of this year. To date, we've expended $67,800 on replacing windows and doors at the Public Services building on Route 1. We've also removed asbestos in that building for another $1,100. And we conducted the energy audit of all municipal and school buildings at a cost of $32,480. The town is looking to, at this point, commit the remaining dollars that are available, which is about $173,000, to bringing the gas line up from approximately Winter Street to the Town Hall complex, and also to bring the gas, natural gas, onto the Peacedale Library property where the gas currently resides in Kingstown Road. In addition to bringing the gas to that location, the cost of about $17,500 that'll be paid with National Grid. We're looking to award a contract this evening, which is the subject of the agenda item, in the amount of $165,100 without contingency, and a $7,000 contingency added to that for $172,100 for the replacement of the town hall boiler with modulating condenser boilers, as well as replacement of the two furnace boiler in the annex, as well as changeover of the other unit from an oil fire to a natural gas fire, as well as then being able to remove the underground storage tanks that currently hold the oil that's used to heat the buildings. Same thing with Peacedale Library. We'll be replacing an existing boiler with a modulating condensating boiler. We'll also be bringing that natural gas for the steam boiler, and we'll be removing and disposing of the above-ground storage tanks for the heating fuel. The town uses about 8,200 gallons of oil a year to heat the town hall complex, an additional 7,400 gallons of oil at the Peacedale Library. The cost differential between natural gas and number 2 heating fuel is considerable at this point. We anticipate being able to, one, replace very aged equipment here at the town hall, as well as the boiler at the Peacedale Library at a reasonable price, and then be able to see substantial reductions in our operating costs. So the recommendation is for council award to the lowest qualified bidder that's submitted on this. We had 2 bids that were submitted. Recommendation is to award on the second low bid and to move this project forward at this time. So if there's questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Any questions here for Steve? Do we have a motion?
I move approval of new business item K.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. We have new business, item L. This is any new business added to, let's see, is hereby added by a majority vote. We don't really need to take a vote on that, do we? No. That really was not. All right, which brings us to a closed executive session pertaining, this is pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A2, to discuss matters pertaining to collective bargaining in regard to IBPO Local 489. And could we have a roll call vote, Dale?
Council President Whaley?
Yes.
Council Vice President McAtee?
Yes.
Councilwoman Eddy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fogarty?
Yes.
Councilman O'Neill?
Yes.
Unanimous affirmative vote to recess to close executive session at 8:55.
Thank you.
Can I make a motion to turn the fan on up here? God.